Hello and welcome to the first of several finalist showcases for the 2020 Baker Artist Awards. My name is David London, and I'm the program manager for the Baker Artist Portfolios at the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance. Over the next several weeks, we'll be showcasing the work of some of the 37 incredible artists who were selected by an anonymous jury from nearly 800 artists in the Baltimore region who created a portfolio this year. These 37 artists are this year's finalists who are up for consideration for one of this year's 6 Baker Artist Awards. These finalists were selected for exemplifying a mastery of their craft, a commitment to excellence, and a unique and compelling vision. Today's program will last around 30 minutes and feature 4 incredible performers. After the formal program, several of the artists will join us for a live talkback where they will answer any questions you might have. So if you do have questions, please feel free to type them directly in the comment box below. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge Renz Blogtas, program assistant at the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance, for working behind the scenes today for making this live broadcast happen. This show would not have been possible without him. And so, without any further ado, it is now my pleasure to introduce our first act, who will first introduce himself and then perform live for us all from his very own balcony. Please enjoy the performance of Ryan Johnson.
Thank you, David, so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Johnson. I am a native of Baltimore, Maryland. And today I'm going to take you on the rhythmic roller coaster. And because we're all at home, this is my living room, kind of. But I'm going to take you out on my balcony so that I can make a little noise. I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, let's make music. Hope you enjoyed that. Peace. Hey, my name is Ryan Johnson. I am the co-founder and artistic director of Soul Defined.
Hi, everybody. My name is Quinn Johnson, and I am a co-founder of Soul Defined.
My name is Jodeci Millhouse, and I'm the Soul Defined dance captain.
Soul Defined is like this melting pot.
What I love about Soul Defined is that we fuse all these dances together.
Body percussion, hip-hop technique,
Step,
jazz,
West African dance,
vocal percussion, and beatbox. We put all these things into a pot and mix them up.
It's a lot of fun.
Zaz the Big Easy.
I'm not seeing a stream on YouTube, just so you guys know. And David, I think you might have been muted.
I'm not, I wasn't muted, but I'm also not seeing a screen. Renz? Yeah, I don't think I showed up at all there. Still nothing on YouTube. Do you want to cut back to me, Renz? Renz, I can't hear you, so if you want to talk to us. I don't know. Do you want to cut back to me so I, what do you want to do? There's nothing showing on YouTube though. Oh, it's playing off on YouTube. It's playing us. We want to get the live video from Alan Zing. There we go.
Should I do a take two?
Yours played just perfectly, Ryan. For everyone watching, thanks for dealing with us as we navigate this. Nothing's playing on YouTube, Ryan. Oh, there we go.
Hey, my name is Ryan Johnson. I am the co-founder
Renz?
and artistic director
Renz?
of Soul Defined.
This video
Hi,
already
everybody.
played.
My name is Quinn Johnson, and I am a co-founder of Soul Defined.
My name is Jodeci Millhouse, and I'm the Soul Defined dance captain.
Soul Defined is like this melting pot.
What I love about Soul Defined is that we fuse all these dances together.
Body percussion, hip hop technique.
Friends, I don't know what to do
West
here.
African dance.
Vocal percussion and beatbox. We put all these things into a pot and
Okay,
mix
I
them
think
up.
we're okay. Can
It's
you
a
hear
lot
me,
of
Renz?
fun.
Okay. So this video apparently already
Zaz the
played
Big
while I was
Easy.
talking earlier, but it's fine. Alan, Ryan's
So the
live
name
video
Zaz
played live.
is
So that's
derived
fine.
from
So after this,
Cab
we'll go back
Calloway.
to me.
Cab
I
Calloway
guess,
is
and
a
then
huge
I'll
connection into
say what I
the
need
tap
to say.
dance world, as he was the band leader for a lot
And
of
then
the
we'll go
big
to Alan.
bands.
We wanted to make sure that tap dance and percussive dance wasn't just seen as a novelty,
And he had a song, Zazu 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 Za.
but as a strong, stable, long-lasting part of concert dance, performing arts.
That Zaz phrase is the title of the show. And in Zaz, Ryan embodies Cab Calloway,
We fuse percussive dance from across the globe.
as well as singing and acting and telling a story in American history, Hurricane Katrina.
We started going to New Orleans. We started speaking with locals. We started building relationships and sitting and listening.
The show is really high energy. It has a lot of emotions. It kind of goes on a roller coaster. It started as a wider concept, and we've kind of narrowed it down to just about a storm and what storms mean in people's lives.
We hope that this show reminds people.
We are back. Thank you all for
New
dealing with our
Orleans is a
technical
part of the United
difficulties.
States, and
Hopefully
New
we've
Orleans
had
needs
all of
it.
that resolved now. Thank you, Ryan, for those performances. Sorry for any interruptions you may have experienced. As I was saying before, which I hear that most of you could not hear, that while we're stuck at home, it's a great time to explore the hundreds of artists and the tens of thousands of artworks that are on the Baker Artist Portfolios website. You can find those artists at www.bakerartist.org. If you don't know, the Baker Artist Portfolios were created in 2009 to support artists and promote Greater Baltimore as a strong creative community. And both the portfolios and associated awards were established by the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Fund through a collaboration with the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance. The online portfolios are open to artists working in all disciplines who live and work in Baltimore City and its 5 surrounding counties. And we know that the portfolios have been seen by hundreds of thousands of art lovers, critics, gallery owners, academics, and leaders in creative business in nearly every country around the world. And now, from the comfort of your own home, it's our pleasure to present to you an artist who himself has performed in numerous countries around the world. Please welcome our next performer, Alan Zing. Thank you, Alan, for sharing your incredible dance and choreography. If you don't know, all artists who create a Baker Artist Portfolio are automatically eligible for one of 6 Baker Artist Awards, which includes significant monetary prizes, showcase and exhibition opportunities, as well as a feature on Maryland Public Television's Artworks program. When awardees are announced this May, the Baker program will have awarded over $1 million to over 100 artists in the Baltimore region, and that is a milestone worthy of celebration. Now, as I mentioned, this is only the first of several live showcases coming up, including on the next 2 Thursdays, also at 7 p.m. Next week on April 23rd, we'll feature our literary finalists, and on April 30th, we will hear from many of our finalists in the music category. We hope you can join us for those as well. And now for our next artist, it is my absolute pleasure to share with you the incredible work of Anna Fitzgerald.
I have been destroyed in different ways by motherhood. Just small destructions here and there of my identity, my art, my body, thoughts. And all of this was before anything really went wrong. Then, the destruction became an explosion. I am exploded. Sonnets to Orpheus by Rilke. Quiet friend who has come so far, feel how your breathing makes more space around you. Let this darkness be a bell tower and you the bell. As you ring, what batters you becomes your strength. Move back and forth into the change. What is it like, such intensity of pain? If the drink is bitter, turn yourself to wine. In this uncontainable night, be the mystery at the crossroads of your senses, the meaning discovered there. And if the world has ceased to hear you, say to the silent earth, I flow. To the rushing water, speak, I am. In this story, I am halfway through my second pregnancy, having a routine scan when the technician just kind of stops talking. She keeps focusing on a dark spot. She leaves the room without telling us anything, but I surprise myself in how I recognize it. It's something about the heart. Transposition of the great arteries. This is when I learned that despite my many years of schooling and multiple degrees, I actually did not understand at all what a heart does or how it does it. My baby's heart, they said, instead of spiraling up as it grew, for some reason, grew straight. The blood was not circulating between the two sides as it should be, or rather, once the baby was born, it wouldn't. Once the baby breathes through its lungs, the oxygenated blood will not mix. There is a hole in the newborn heart that allowed the blood to mix in utero. It slowly closes in the first few days the baby breathes air. 70 years ago, I would have had a blue baby, mostly normal at birth, and dead 2 days later. My baby was safe inside of me, but I would have to let it go into the breathing world eventually. Boom. I am destroyed. For the next 4 months, I sank deep, deep into sad waters. This was a strange 4 months. I carried this crazy story inside of me, but ostensibly this pregnancy was fine. Normal risk, looked normal. And just like with my first baby, we did not find out about the sex growing in there. Now, strangers love to know about the genitals, and they would ask me, is it a boy or a girl? I don't know, I'd say. Oh, that's great, they'd say. The old-fashioned way. And then they'd say the most harmless thing in the world. As long as it's healthy, right? And fantasy me would say, nope, not that either. Like a joke. But guess what doesn't ever really land? A joke that's not really a joke. About open heart surgery on a newborn. That baby you made wrong. And I came back up out of the water because I had to. This is motherhood. Coming up not because you are ready, but because there is no other choice. The day comes, the middle of the earth cools, I open up and let her go. She is here. And now, they must break open the walnut that is her heart, cut and sew it back together. I continue to show up. That's what I'm supposed to do. The only way through it is through it. We go through it. She is 4 days old, and I hand her over for open heart surgery. We eat egg sandwiches and watch HGTV in a special waiting room for families of children within the cardiac waiting room. I feel okay. I've been dreading this day for months while I was underwater, but now I am just happy to get through it. The only way through it is through it. The surgery doesn't feel so hard. The healing is hard. We wade through the next week of healing. I touch her very still, very sedated body. Her brand new perfect baby cells work to put things back together. She has wires and lines with opioids, fluids, platelets, calories, diuretics. Air is put into her lungs. Nurses change her diapers. Doctors monitor the x-rays. I pump her milk. Feeding tubes. Intubation. Extubation. Intubation. I learned that when your baby is intubated, her cries are silent. Her lung collapses. I'm destroyed. It is hard to go backwards. But that's also the healing. They warn you about it, but when it does go backwards, there is no preparation that can help, that can stop you from crying all day long. But she does start going forward again, and then the wires come out and machines leave the room. I see her face. 8 days after surgery, she is a baby in my arms. She is ready to go home. It all starts to feel normal. Medications stop, precautions end. I can pick her up under her arms. She can lie on her belly. They told us she may only ever need one surgery. I begin to believe she is just normal. We are just normal, newborn and mother. They fixed her heart, and now she is a regular baby. We go back for a cardiology appointment, and they see a narrowing valve. Boom. I am destroyed. It is fairly common. Boom. I must face some truths. She does not have a normal heart. She never will. Her heart was broken and sewn back together. And now there's scar tissue. Her heart mimics a normal heart, untouched in a newborn, but hers has been touched, and it reacts to that. She might need another surgery someday. Maybe not. Maybe something less. Maybe nothing. Maybe the whole thing over again. When? Not sure. Now and then there is a problem that cannot be fixed. Motherhood is a complicated grief. I realized that I had actually relied completely on the idea that she would need one heart surgery and then be fine. But that was just one of the possibilities, and now so many others fell onto the path. Boom. I am destroyed again. Hearts are important and hers is broken. She has a chronic disease. With a chronic disease, everything is fine until it is not. I searched for something to help me piece myself back together again. I yearned for someone else's wisdom because I was out. And I did find an eerie solace. It was the idea that you will lose everything and everyone you love. That is it. We were not special. By having children, I had opened myself up to losing them. This is the real shit. I realized that everyone will die, and then I was no longer sad. The reality is that I could lose them. It's just that because of her heart, I was facing it at the exact moment as I was also facing her birth. But I may lose my children. It could be a car crash, an illness, a freak event, a natural catastrophe, a suicide, an overdose, a misstep, a miscommunication, a bad call, bad timing, or a pandemic. But she will be here until she is not. No matter how perfect or broken her heart may be. I can fight for her. I can ask questions, search endlessly for the right doctor or the right medicine, but the only way I can actually live is to surrender to the path, even when it hurts. Because right at this moment, we are both here, brokenhearted and alive, and just that is enough.
Thank you, Anna, for sharing your incredible truth. You know, every day, but especially during these uncertain times, artists are providing us ways to confront our truths, to deal with the challenges we face, to find points of reflection, calm and comfort, joy and beauty, connection, as well as new ways to think about and interact with the world around us. Their contributions to our world are more important now than they have ever been. I think I'm just going to jump right to our next artist, another artist who has spent her entire career using her art form to share her own stories and to give us points of reflection on our own truths. It is my pleasure to next welcome, live from her home, an artist who considers herself a song and story alchemist. Please welcome Ellen Cherry.
Hi. Can you guys hear me? I want to say hello and thank David and Rents for running this. I think this is wonderful. I'm so excited and pleased to be a part of the Baker Artist Finalist Showcase, and it's an incredible honor. So I'm going to start with a song about being in a dark room and looking for that one spark of inspiration or a light switch or something that you can turn on so that you can find the exit when you're in that dark space. All right, I'm going to tilt my camera down a little bit so you can see my guitar. Hold on. Let me do this gracefully. This one's called One Spark. Pain, pain, go away, come again no other day. Same, same, it's all the same. I don't know no other way. Flames, flames, it burns down. All the dreams die in this town. One word, make your mark. All you need is just one spark. One spark, one spark. Find your way out of the dark. One spark, one spark. Find your way out of the dark. Tear stain on my face. You can see I can't erase. Hold hands, hold space. Go on now, but for the grace. Pray, pray, keep us here, safe inside our atmosphere. Hey, you there in the dark. All you need is just one spark. One spark, one spark. Find your way out of the dark. One spark, one spark. Find my way out of the dark. I'm going to put that down and push you guys back a little bit. So I have an opportunity to play 2 songs for you today, and I want to talk about a new project I've been working on. It was so beautiful to watch Anna's cranky about her birth experience for her daughter, and it's so important for, I think, for people to talk about their painful experiences, because something that she said really resonated with me and is important to me in my process of recovery as well. You have to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't go over it. You must go through it. And I learned this and have been learning it for the last 7 years. In 2013, I was in a very violent car wreck caused by a drunk driver. And the subsequent physical injuries and post-traumatic stress disorder put me on this path of learning about recovery, both physical recovery and existential recovery. And so I started thinking about the myth of Eurydice. So in the Greek myth of Eurydice, a lot of the storytelling is about Orpheus's perspective, his going to rescue Eurydice. But I wondered how Eurydice felt after she had been instantly sucked into a hellish place. And that hellish place might look like her house. It might look like the bed that she's convalescing in and recovering from. And I wanted to think about that and explore those ideas. So as part of my therapy, I don't know if you can see these things, but I started making these drawings, meditative drawings, a couple of years ago, and they started to morph into live animations and color drawings that I'm doing on an iPad. And I started doing movement and dance. And I actually started investigating recovery language and recovery work. And in recovery work, they talk about the steps. And in the myth of Eurydice, she has to find the steps to come out of the underworld back to her life on Earth. And so I wanted to understand also that it may be a slow process of recovery, but I couldn't expect rescue to come from someone else. I had to do it myself. So one of the things that I did is I started to write a play based on some short stories I'd written about the experience of having post-traumatic stress disorder. So I'm going to read you Eurydice's Welcome, which is the beginning of the performance that I wrote last year. This is not a somber tale, a song to make you sad. Think of it more of a wedding between good and bad. You will see and hear some things that the evidence suggests. That joy returns with lessons learned of how to carry my regrets. To shrink from epic size the pain of what is and what is not. To place both past and future in their proper spot. To see the door and take the steps, and sometimes pray for help. So sing to me, O muses loud, and watch me save myself. I'm going to sing you a song that was inspired by this recovery process called Eurydice. It's an honor to be nominated in the interdisciplinary category. This is so incredible to me. I started studying dance and movement and incorporating it into performance. And I'm totally inspired by everyone that's on the Baker Artist portfolios, whether you're a finalist or not. It's a great place to learn about Baltimore area artists. We have such an incredible scene here, and I'm so pleased to have been part of it for the last 20 years, collaborating with puppeteers, filmmakers, other musicians, poets. It's incredible. So everybody keep creating, and thank you for all the support that the people who do support us are able to give us, especially during this time when many of us have lost our work. So I'm gonna say goodbye after this song, but this is the first song that I wrote in recovery a couple of years ago, and it's called Eurydice. And I just realized I have to retune for it. So hold on a second. This will be a nice break for you guys to watch a musician tune her guitar. All right, here we go. Eurydice, finding the steps on her own because the only way is through. I've been hanging on in the bottom of hell by the skin of these pretty white teeth and a fingernail. Is that a cavern wall, the stairs to heaven, or a wishing well? If you were looking through these tired eyes, you could hardly tell. I heard a promise and I made one to myself. Oh well. I sang alongside a note with each step down, just in case you had the time to follow me around. I crossed the river past the dog onto hallowed ground, but when I turned the walls, it swallowed all my sounds. So I begged the muse to stay, and I see she had flown. I should have known. I should have known. I should have known. I should have known. I made a choice to shut my mouth and send my hopes by first class post to the underground. I poisoned roots, sowed the seeds of doubt. I stopped the rain. I sparked a fire that I thought I could keep aflame. And I crushed the bones of lies I've told under my feet. I couldn't speak. Well, I said it once, there is no reason to repeat. I've been hanging on in the bottom of hell by the skin of these pretty white teeth and a fingernail. I write it down, you eat it up, we get along. What were we thinking of? I write it down, you eat it up, we get along. We called it love. We called it love. We We called it love. We called it love. Thank you so much for having me on the showcase tonight. I'm so pleased to play for you. I cannot wait until we are all together again and can have live performances. And because I want to take every opportunity to say this, I love you. See ya.
Well, folks, that's the end of our official program, but please stick around for the artist talkback, where several of the artists will be joining us live to answer your questions. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, you can post them in the chat below here on YouTube Live. I hope you'll join us the following 2 Thursdays at 7 p.m. for our next 2 programs. Next week is our literary finalists, and after that, our finalists in the music category. I want to take the opportunity to once again thank Renz Blogtas, who's been working behind the scenes to make this program happen. And I also want to thank the entire staff of the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance for their support, not only of this program, but of the entire cultural community, both every day as well as particularly in this time of crisis. The Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance believes that arts and culture are essential to the vitality of the Greater Baltimore region, and that the cultural community is stronger together than apart. And this is more important now than ever. I would also like to thank the staff and Board of Governors at the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Fund for their incredible vision, generosity, and ongoing contributions to the cultural sector in Baltimore. With no exaggeration, we literally could not do this without you. I want to thank all of our artists who presented today, as well as all of the artists on the Baker site in the Baltimore region and throughout the world, who present us with the incredible gift of filtering their own life and their reality and our reality through their very own lens. I would also like to thank all of you who have tuned in to watch today. Without people to perceive our art, sometimes it's difficult for our art to exist at all. And with that, I would like to now turn it over to our artists to say hello and answer any questions. Once again, my name is David London from the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you have any questions for our artists, we will share our screen now so you can see all of them. And I will try to moderate any questions that come in. Thank you so much for watching. All right, artists, if you want to unmute yourself, if you are muted so that we can hear you, and Renz in the back end will set up the screen so that we can see everyone. And I will jump right in here if there are any questions. Let's see. Let's start from the top. A lot of really nice comments. Rita said, Anna, your piece really touched me. Do we have any questions here? If you want to type it in. If not, artists, if you just want to say hello or share anything, you're certainly welcome to do so now.
I want to say that I loved Anna's piece. Oh my God. It was incredible to hear your story. I had heard a rumor that about it at Cranky Fest, and I didn't get tickets, so I didn't get to see it, but it was so moving. And Ryan, your piece touched me. I used to live in New Orleans, and I lived there from the late 90s, 2000. So anything that happens with New Orleans culture, especially after surviving so many floods and such environmental damage, and also the systemic poverty and racism that continues to just keep New Orleans. Anyway, it just was really moving to see everybody's work. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I'm in incredible company. And I'm also super inspired and wish I had like 17 lifetimes to explore all these art forms and collaborate with every single one of you if I could.
Thanks, Ellen.
Yeah, and thank you, Rita, also for. I kind of created this piece because when I got this diagnosis, I felt completely alone because I had never really heard of anybody dealing with a heart issue in pregnancy and then with birth. And then it's actually fairly common to have a congenital heart defect. So just want to keep sharing stories like this. And it helped me, and I feel like it helps people out there. And I also can't help it. I just feel compelled to do it. And I should also mention, I'd like to thank the Ruby's Artist Grants, which allowed me to create that piece, just giving me time now that I have children to make art.
I think David just did the same thing I did, which was accidentally turn my computer off. I was like, "Oh," and then I turned my computer off.
I think, and it looks like there's a question for Ryan. Ryan, do you see that?
Nah,
Yeah.
what does it say? Let me take a look.
I can read it to you. It's from Stacy Reed. Would love to know more about the work Mr. Johnson did in New Orleans. Why did you select New Orleans for your show?
That's a great question. New Orleans is a space that is really important to the art form that I study, tap dance, which is connected to jazz, which is all connected to the African diaspora and the African American experience here in the United States. So when it came to using my art, I wanted to use it for good. I wanted to use it to address social injustice that affect people of color across the United States. I remember Katrina. I remember the emotional effect it had on me and the rest of the country. And through creating this show and writing this show, I realized that America has kind of turned its back on New Orleans. And I believe art has the strength and the power to create change and to bring and shine light on things that we sometimes are afraid to talk about. So I wanted to create an immersive show that reminded us that New Orleans is not just Bourbon Street and a great time, but there are people that live there every day that still have a voice that need to be heard. So I wrote a show basically to represent those voices. I've spent the last almost 10 years traveling and living in New Orleans, Soul Defined partners with the Jazz City Tap Festival in New Orleans, bringing tap practitioners from around the globe to New Orleans to work with the students in East New Orleans, working with the students at NOCA. So for me, I just wanted to use percussive dance for good. I wanted to create a lane and a voice for the unheard and use my talents to do so. So, good question.
Thank you, Ryan. Are there any other questions that anyone would like to ask? You can type them into the chat box. Are there any other comments that our artists would like to make here today?
I just want to say thank you. I've been applying to the Baker Awards for almost 10 years, and I love the work that you guys are doing. I love the exposure you're providing to artists here in Baltimore. We have so much art and so much culture and so much talent. So thank you for creating a platform that allows us to be visible, to be heard, to share our voices, and to validate that the arts are a vital part of our culture. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We would not have a job to do if it wasn't for you all. So thank you also very much for sharing your truth and your beauty with us. All right, I'll just check to see if we have any more questions that came in. It doesn't look like we do, so it looks like we will wrap up our program here unless anybody else has anything they want to say. Once again, from everyone at the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Fund and the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in. You can learn more about these artists as well as the hundreds of other artists on the Baker site at www.bakerartist.org, and we look forward to seeing you next week and the following week at 7 p.m. for our next showcases. Thank you all so much, and we hope you have a great rest of the week. Take care.
Thanks.